Meditation is selfless giving. Often when we start to explore the spiritual path, we hear about this selfless giving thing that we're supposed to be doing. It's very, very important. You have to be selfless. And a lot of people will try to do it, but then they wind up just burning themselves out because they don't really understand how the process is working or what's actually happening. And it's really quite simple, as most things on the path are. I mean, the whole path of Trikaya Buddhism I can sum up in 2 words: pay attention. That's it. Very, very simple. When we pay attention, that's when we become aware. And as our awareness expands, we learn and we discover that, oh, this is creating more light in my life. I feel brighter, I feel happier, that I'm treating others around me much better, I'm treating myself better. And so just simply by paying attention, we grow. So this selfless giving is the path. But we need to understand what that means. And for me, the path always begins with meditation. That's our foundation. Without our seated practice, any type of mindfulness that we try to do, any type of contemplation that we experiment with, it just ties us up into knots because we're too full. We just have too much stuff that we've packed into our mind and our body and our whole being, and we just start getting tangled into more and more knots. So we start with meditation. And as I said at the beginning, meditation is selfless giving. When we sit and meditate, we are giving our entire self away to the light. Everything. So that means all of the beautiful feelings that we have, all the happiness, the joy, and all the dark shadows, all the heaviness, all the anger, the attachments, the ignorance, all those desires that tie you up in knots and you say, I need to have this right now. Please, please, I need this. Oh my goodness, I just need it. All of that. In our meditation, we take all of that and we make it into an offering. So it can sometimes help, like if we're really stuck in a desire, we really, really need this thing. Or we're really full of anger, we're just so mad and we can't see anything but our anger. Or we're just lost in confusion. I don't know what is going on. I just feel I'm all over the place. I'm up, I'm down, I'm sideways. Whatever it is, we can do a little visualization where we create this most beautiful silver platter. Just ornate, maybe rimmed with jewels. It's just a beautiful, beautiful platter. And we take all of those dark, heavy things and we wrap them in beautiful tissue paper, maybe with some sparkles on it. We take it and then we put it on the platter and we give it to eternity. We give it to light. And we say, please take this. And we don't turn that into a desire. So be careful. That's a trick of the ego to say, oh, please, please take this. Just take this from me. Because now you have to take that and wrap it all up nice and pretty. Put it on the platter. And give it. So basically in meditation, we are saying to this pure white light, take everything. Take absolutely everything. And we allow that to happen. And this very interesting process happens when we do that, is it's taken and we become empty. And in this emptying out, this spaciousness is created through which light then starts to flow through our very being. And so it's as if this river of light just washes us clean. You know, if you take a glass that maybe you had some chocolate milk in it, and so it's all dirty, and then you turn the faucet on. And now if you say, no, I want to keep some of that chocolate milk, and so I'm going to put, my plate, over it, so I'm going to protect it. That's what most people do in meditation. They hold back. They're like, oh no, I can't look at that. Because when we do rinse the glass, we see everything come bubbling up to the top. And it can be very uncomfortable. You all of a sudden recognize, oh, I had that in me. I was drinking out of that glass. Yuck. Oh no, I can't see that. And you shove the plate back on it and pretend it's not there. So when I say everything, I mean everything. And you'll catch yourself holding back. And that's okay, because then you can even package up that holding back, that clinging, and make that an offering. And say, okay, here, I'm going to give this clinging away, because I can't let go of the things yet, but I can let go of my clinging to the thing. And then maybe next time I meditate, I'll let go of the thing. So it's a process that happens over and over and over again. And each time we sit, we become clearer. The light flows through us a little easier. Every time we go to the faucet and rinse out the glass, there's not as much crud that rises to the surface. Sometimes there's a big chunk that comes up and you're just like, whoa, where did that come from? So don't freak out if that happens. Just recognize that, oh, I'm giving myself. I'm giving of myself. And this is meditation. Now, when we get up from the meditation cushion and we start to practice mindfulness and we're interacting with people, this is where we practice our discipline. So we're aware of all this crud that's in our being. The negative emotions, the self-pity, the anger, the desires. And we discipline ourselves so that when we're interacting with others, we give them only our best. So we kind of recognize that, oh, all this stuff is swimming around me, but I have this, the cream at the top, all the beautiful happiness, the bright blessings of my life. And so I'm going to share those outwardly with everybody I meet. And we're able to do this because we're not overstuffed, because we did our meditation practice where we let go and made space for this light to come through us. And as we do this exterior selfless giving, it empties us and creates space, because now we're giving away all of the bright light that's pouring through us. And that seems counterintuitive, because we're like, hey, wait a minute. I worked hard for that light. I sat there and I looked at all my crap, and now I got all this wonderful light, that feels really good, and I want to hold on to it. It's mine. And I watch people do that. It's really funny. Not for them, because it turns very painful. Because all of a sudden, we put up this wall. And we're like, oh, I don't want you in my energy. Oh, you're low vibe. And, oh, you're draining me. You're making me feel horrible. And you're missing this incredible opportunity. Because if we take this beautiful light that has filled us during meditation and give it to everybody that we interact with, it empties us out. And what happens when we're emptied out is it creates spaciousness. And then all we have to do is be still, and that light just comes rushing right back in and fills us up some more, loosens up some more of the crud, which makes room for even more light. So this wonderful cyclical process is happening, and that we can use to free ourselves of everything that locks us into duality. So as you're practicing this, as you're practicing your mindfulness, and maybe you get up and you meditate and you had a hard time because there's a lot of crud, take a few minutes to chill out and center and say, okay, now I need to really focus on this bright, beautiful energy that came into me. And I focus on my gratitude, on my beauty, and I put myself in a very high, clear mind state, not for me, but for all the people that I'm about to interact with, whether that's just going online on Facebook or social media or Instagram, because there's an energetic component every time you click that little like button or you type a comment. There's an energy behind it. Every time you send an email, there's an energy behind it. So when you're having those types of interactions, or when you're actually face to face, you need to go out to the market, pick up some milk. You want to be in that highest, brightest possible mind state for the benefit of others. So when you walk down the street or when you drive down the road, instead of leaving behind a trail of crap, you're leaving behind nice, bright bliss bubbles, and people walk by you and they're like, oh, refreshing, instead of, oh, yuck. And again, you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for everyone else. And it's very, very important to pay attention to where you're getting stuck in this process. Because this is where you'll learn where your hooks are, where your attachments are, what is keeping you from selfless giving. So as you're going about the day, you might bring your highest, brightest, most beautiful mind state to work, and maybe somebody's not doing their job, or they're not doing it correctly. And so you get a little, like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that way. Why'd you do that? And then you notice your mind state just falling into adversarial territory. Now you're ready for, full on anger brawl. And you can catch yourself and say, oh, I got an attachment here to deal with. And so you check in with yourself and you correct. You use your discipline to say, oh, wait a minute. No matter what, I want to offer my highest and brightest. And now this doesn't mean that you become a doormat and let everybody run over you, because that is, my word I made up called stuffering, where we just stuff things down and pretend we're not suffering. That doesn't work. But what we do is we take that step back objectively and check ourselves, because that's where we have control, is over the focus of our mind. We say, oh, I'm spinning out here. Let me recenter myself. And you can even start with your hips, the body. Say, oh, let me get my hips into the center of my being, find my center of gravity, both energetically and physically. Center my mind on beauty, on gratitude. And now let me look at the situation objectively. What is it that actually needs to happen here? So the person did the thing that I didn't think they should do, and I got upset, and okay, that's my attachment, so I can deal with that part of it. But what's the impact, the real impact of that action? Does it need to be corrected or not? And then that way you can make an informed decision instead of that knee-jerk reaction of, oh, I need to tear this person apart because they didn't do it to my specifications. Because sometimes we discover that our specifications are either unreasonable, unnecessary, or just plain wrong. Or sometimes they are right. Sometimes they actually are the best way to do it, and the person just doesn't see that. So there's an opportunity to teach. And teaching is the happiest magic I know, because the awareness field of both the teacher and the student are transformed. And we get to participate in this active magic. So even when things are going completely sideways, if you can come back and act in accordance with selfless giving, where it's not about you. But when we're interacting in the relative world, none of this is about me. It's not about you. It's about this exquisite dance that we are all part of. And that makes it fun. It makes it exciting and invigorating. And of course, some days we'll get wiped out by our own ego, by our own habitual programming. Things won't go our way. Maybe we'll make a bet and it doesn't pay off the way that we thought it would, and we have to live with that. And that's okay, because it's another learning opportunity to see where the hooks are in your being. So at the end of the day, we sit again in meditation and we give everything away. Everything. So if we had a really great day and everything just flowed perfectly, it all went flawlessly, then we just hand that up. If everything went horribly and we handled ourselves well and we're feeling all full of pride, we accomplished our practice, we give that away. If we became completely self-indulgent and we made everything worse, we own that and we give it away. That's the real secret of selfless giving, is we have to acknowledge and accept and own our mind states and our actions and our behaviors. And that's when we can give them away. You know, sometimes we talk about surrendering, you know, in the more advanced stages of the path. We say, okay, just surrender it all. And how can you possibly surrender if you don't have any control over it, if you have not acknowledged that it's yours? The example I use is when you go to your friend and you say, oh, I'm going to give you this beautiful horse. It's the most beautiful horse you've ever seen. And I'm so excited, I'm going to give it to you. And they're like, oh, yes, perfect. I have room in my stables. It's going to be wonderful. When do you want to connect to bring the horse by? And you go, oh, well, the horse is out in that, somewhere out in that field, you know, in that mountain range over there. I saw him last week. There you go. There's your horse. And your friend is like, oh, okay. So you haven't really given me anything. So if you think that you are surrendering just because you're completely out of control, it's not working. So first we gain control, and then we give everything. Which of course always leads us back to meditation, where we sit in silence and just consciously make this wonderful offering to eternity, to the light, to God, to the goddess, whatever your word of the day is. And you consciously give.